Give me the cue when she's that's the Lord. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay, hello. Can you guys hear me? What? Can you hear me? Sit down. Okay, so I know we're working on the sound. I know at the back it's kind of hard to hear if you're sitting at the back. But if you're always sitting at the back as you go up through school, you know it's always hard to hear from the back. So there's speakers up at the front. And there's chairs at the front up here too. If you can't hear at the back, there's lots of chairs up at the front. So we're going to get into our first kind of success story, the Bay of Quinte. So the format's going to be, there's going to be a video, and then they're going to come up and speak after the video, and then we'll go into our second success story. So I think, Chris, are you guys ready for the video? All right.
Of the Bay of Quinte is a healthy, sustainable community united by language, culture, traditions, knowledge, and history. The Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte take pride in being a community leader and have a vision of empowering Indigenous women through on-the-job training. At the same time, the community wanted to provide an affordable transitional home for women and families fleeing domestic violence while addressing the issue regarding the lack of housing in First Nation communities. Through a partnership, 5 Indigenous women were trained in construction. These passionate women helped build 2 transitional shelters on the territory to assist women and families fleeing domestic violence.
We have 4 or 5 young ladies that basically were really good about construction and housing, and 40-45 Celsius for the summer and then the cold in the winter, and they did it all. Mom was Cal in the beginning, then Cal went back to retirement, then Paul Finn, another carpenter, looking more as an instructor, and dominating. basically a blank canvas. With a I'd say. Brought together two beautiful little transitional homes. This is everything.
Provincial guidelines allow only 3 months in protection, but with these two transitional homes being under the governance and jurisdiction of the First Nation community, they are in control of how long the family needs to heal and the length of time the parent will need to restructure life for the family.
The pride that it instills with the women that took up, the banner to take this on in a non-traditional role. We have two now enrolled as carpenter apprentices. One went on to the electrical, and the one that had to go on maternity leave was coming back to be a plumber apprentice. So, it's snowballed. It started out as a dream to have these homes available for women and children fleeing violence. I mean, the best wish that you can hope for is that they're always empty. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But having said that, they're now there. And provincially, after 3 months, either the funding is brought back or the family is made to fend for themselves after 3 months. That's how long you're supposed to be in any kind of shelter, transitional shelter, and those kinds of things. These provide the ability for them to continue on. As you know as well as I do, 3 months for anyone to get back on their feet is a very short time frame.
As a result of the community's hard work, the project was able to help address several issues, including lack of safe accommodation for women and children fleeing violence, women entering skilled trades, community unemployment, and the lack of community capital to construct housing. Congratulations to the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte and to the inspirational women who have made a difference.
Okay, so those that are presenting, talking too close, those that are presenting, come on up. And then we'll hear some words of success and their accomplishments.
Good afternoon. I would like to introduce the people that are with me today. First, I'd like to introduce Sam, Glenda, Sam Miracle. Glenda wasn't for her we would have this project. She's the one who made this dream come true. The two gentlemen behind us, they are Red Seal and they were our trainers. This is Chris Miracle and Paul, known as Finn to us, Miracle. They're both our Red Seal. And finally, I am Tammy. I was involved in this project from the beginning to the end, and I am currently an apprenticeship for a Red Seal. Now, let's begin. The Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, Aboriginal labor force, women in trades. Thanks. The ribbon cutting ceremony for the grand opening, March 15th, 2022, of the two transitional homes. The day where we finally got to show off to everyone what we did and what we learned. A place where we shared a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, where we shared a bond and a love for the trades. An empty vacant lot where the transitional homes would be built. Gathering up the logs for the front porch, we wanted to repurpose and reuse our cedar trees. One of the hottest days of the summer, and we decided to level and spread the gravel, 500 tons. Because the skid steer that day thought it was too hot to work, but not for the Mohawk women. There I am. I was packing on the hot hot summer day after shoveling all that gravel. More shoveling and more gravel for leveling, for plumbing and concrete. This is a picture of Kirsten, who moved on to be an apprentice position as a plumber. She is doing the in-floor heating and the plumbing. Finishing up the plumbing and the in-floor heating before the big pour of the concrete. Concrete day finally arrived. We wheelbarrowed many loads of concrete that day, as the truck could not make it that far. There's me again, smoothing out the concrete and adjusting the rebar. Finally, we stood up our first wall. Best day ever. Proud day, all exterior walls are up. Interior walls are all standing up now, and it's starting to feel like a home. Today we stand up the trusses. Now we have a house. Our red seal instructor, Finn, Paul Miracle, is doing a final check on the steel roof. Of course, it was perfect. And it was bring your kid to work day. Connie and Kirsten proud of themselves doing the steel roof. Nice job. 3 generations of our mascot and Max. A hot chocolate break on a very cold day. Brr. Spray foaming around the house before we spread the gravel on the frost wall. Stamp concrete day. Our front porches turned out so beautiful, if I do say so myself. A visit from our chief to show off our progress and a photo opportunity. Our cedar logs all cleaned up, and it took so many days to prepare the logs for the front porch. From stripping the bark to standing them up on the porch. Marking out the place where to put our logs. Securing our logs to the concrete stamped porch. Logs are up and Christmas lights are up, adding a nice finished touch to our house. Siding going on the house. Trim and baseboard day. Outside, we added a walkway of patio stones. On the back of the house, we added a beautiful patio with a wood-burning fireplace and chairs. This is what you see when you step into the house, an open concept living room and kitchen. Living room all finished with a fireplace as well. Bathroom all ready and looking pretty. A one-piece tub and shower with plants. A main bedroom all ready for the mom. A children's room all furnished with a slide-out bed, which provides an extra bed. A proud moment in front of one of our finished homes. Our houses that we are so proud to be part of, this wonderful project. It is such a great feeling to give back to our community. Women helping women, women inspiring women, a place where women and children can feel safe and get their lives back. Thank you for your attention today. Is there any questions? Yes. So we started in August and we finished that house in March, both houses. Thank you.
We've got more projects for them. You can't take them. You want to
Just want to add anything?
what the cost? No? No? Okay. Pardon? The sponsors? Go ahead, the sponsors.
No. You go ahead. No?
Sorry. Well, Sam, come, because you wrote the proposal. I know one big sponsor over here, SIVA, Indigenous Services Canada, Aboriginal Labor Force Development Circle, Mohawks, the Bay of Quinte,
Ministry of Labor Training.
Ministry of Labor and Training. I think that was it. 700 square feet, about $150,000 to build, not including our time. We built comparable houses in the community by contractors, and they were $250,000, and they were not as nice.
If we do say so ourselves.
Well, that was good. Yes, I too will be looking for to hire them. It's always great to see accomplishments, and I think that's some of the things we always like sharing at our housing conference here is just the success of other communities and nations as they build housing for their community. And I think we'll keep moving along. We're probably behind. Actually, we're not too bad, I think. But we'll go on to the next video. Chapleau Cree, we're going to showcase their video here, and then after that, they can come up and speak.
Chapleau Cree First Nation has been providing homes for its people on reserve since 1991, when construction of the first homes began. Since then, members of Chapleau Cree First Nation have been striving to provide safe and rapid housing to the community as swiftly as possible to help address the shortage of housing. The community wasted no time when it came to jumping onto a project designed to bring rapid housing projects to their community to help address the housing shortages. This build helped provide the community with 6 housing units that are safe for families.
When I saw the rapid housing and it was an opportunity to jump on multiple units for a short period of time, so I jumped into the first round of applications. Fortunately, they didn't have enough money, so they had put a bunch of applications on hold, and we were invited back to submit for the second round. So I was quite excited to get that invitation to resubmit under round 2. Obviously, we were successful in getting our funding for round 2, which is fantastic. I mean, I think I was jumping up and down that day.
The completion of this housing project was a huge accomplishment. The members are extremely proud of their accomplishment and hope to see rapid housing initiatives take place in other First Nations communities. Groundwork began on May 3rd on the 2 triplexes, 6 units in total. Crews encountered tons of rock and bedrock in the only area large enough to construct the 2 buildings. Making plans on the fly by shifting and adjusting, they were able to get the foundation set. From there, the project took off. Each triplex was 6 sections in size and were set into place within 1 day. Due to the style of the units, the roof was required to be constructed on site for both buildings. The completion of these modular builds had a huge impact on the community as it helped construct multiple units in under 6 months.
I've left my mark in many ways over the course of the years, but this is tangible. This is something that I can see all my hard work coming to fruition. And when you show a tenant around and you hand over the keys, it's a feeling like no other, knowing that you're helping a young family get started. Or, seniors that need a place to stay, or people that don't have a home or or underhoused, or that feeling of satisfaction makes all these extras definitely worthwhile. It's such a sense of pride. The first time I drove by there and I saw the lights on, I think I had tears in my eyes.
This goes to show what can be accomplished by throwing your hat in the ring and thinking outside the box. Great job, Chapleau Cree First Nation.
All right, is Chapleau Cree here? There she is. Come on up. Houses look nice? Are they still available? No, all filled. What do you mean all filled? We still have a wait list. All right, okay.
So thank you for inviting me to share about this RHI project. There's not a whole lot left for me to say. Pretty much everything was said in that video, but I do want to acknowledge the lands that we are on today. So Fort William First Nation territory, thank you for allowing us to share this land today. I just wanted to give you a bit of history about our community. So back in 1990, we negotiated a 4 square mile parcel of land so where we could develop our new reserve. So we did start construction in 1991 on the initial road in, and in 1991 and 1992, we started building homes. And it was 93 or 94, I can't remember exactly which year. Our biggest build was our Acacia House, was our seniors complex. So for anybody, our seniors or anybody with a disability, they could go into those units, and that was 6 units. When we first built, we had 4 Section 95 homes, and then the remainder were privately financed homes. And they all held their own MLGs. So if you fast forward a few years, the First Nations gotten in and out of rental units throughout the years. And they would always sell the homes to the tenants as soon as possible. But in the last 4 or 5 years, we've re-entered the rental market, and we were building on average 1 or 2 homes every 16 to 18 months. It was a slow process, and it became even slower once COVID hit with all the shortages, and our housing wait list, as people wanted to return to the community, got longer and longer. So when I first read about the Rapid Housing Initiative, I knew it was one that I wanted to bring to the community. And so I sat with our council and our administrator, and we had some initial discussions on how we were going to bring this and what it was going to look like. So then I started to reach out to modular home providers to get some feedback and to see what they could offer us. And then I sat back and I impatiently waited for the call to come out for the RH1. So they had initially posted something, and then they postponed it, and then they posted it again. So this time I was ready, and I started the process. So when the first phase opened up, I was prepared to submit, and there was a whole laundry list of requirements that you required to submit with your application. And it was, I must admit, a cumbersome application online. But it was, as mentioned, oversubscribed, and they ran out of funding. And as a result, we didn't receive funding on the first round. So that was a major disappointment. However, because my submission was scored really highly, I was invited to resubmit for round 2. So it was nice to see that the requirements for round 2 were very streamlined. We worked with our CMHC rep to increase our score, and which was exciting. And I booked that appointment right away because I wanted to get as many points as possible. So we went through line by line, and there was only 3 areas in which we could improve our score. One was to increase the First Nations equity, and that was a no-go. Increase the number of accessible units, and since we already had 2 units that were going to be accessible in a 6-unit complex, it wasn't doable to add any extras. So that wasn't doable. The last option was to reduce the length of the project, and we did collaborate with Royal Homes on the project. And our construction, Missinaibi Headwaters, who was our contractor for all the rest of the work, the site work. So we sat down and we talked about, can we do this in 6 months? Is it feasible to do it in 6 months? It wasn't. So we had to keep the 9-month timeline, which in our neck of the woods is still pretty good, considering that they were allocating 18 months for First Nations. So in having done it, as I mentioned in the video, we started on May the 3rd, and November 3rd will be our 6-month mark, and we will have all 6 units filled before November 3rd. It wasn't a simple process to get the funding. It was definitely a lot of work. The day I received the approval email, I was really excited. I was jumping up and down. Had I been able to do a cartwheel, I probably would have. I think everybody in the office got to hear me yelling. And what was even more amazing is that the fact that the RHI program completely funded the project upfront. So there was no cash management required by the First Nation, meaning they didn't have to upfront any of the money. So that was an even bigger bonus. So from then on, plans kicked into high gear, and more than a few winter site meetings were held to determine the location, the exact location of where we were going to place the triplexes. We had 5 lots available, and that was the largest chunk of land that we had. We had to make it work. So we started clearing on Monday, May 3rd, and then we hit our first challenge on Triplex A. We hit massive amounts of rocks throughout the dig, and not little rocks, rocks and rocks. So we had to shift on the fly. So we shifted the building forward, then we shifted the building to the right, and then we shifted again, and we ended up with a little bit of on bedrock and had to make some changes. And because we added a full basement and an exit stairs out of the basement, so then we required some extra depth for the frost wall, which again was a huge challenge. But finally we did it. We shifted, we pumped, we moved forward with the footings, and then we moved on to the area for Triplex B. Well, we thought Triplex A site was challenging, but holy Hannah, when we hit B, let me tell you, rock, 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 and I mean rock, and more bedrock. Oh yeah, and mud, which I had firsthand experience with. However, due to timing and costs, blasting wasn't an option. So we shifted the building forward, and then forward again, and then yet again, but we persevered, and we ended up with a beautiful location. Sidebar, I'm new to AgDev, just under 3 years in that department. I'll be at 31 years with the First Nation in total. So construction field work is completely outside of my wheelhouse, completely. This is not normal for me at all. But like a trooper, with my office attire on, I'd head out to site, pull on my rubber boots, and go and see where those new stakes were to review the shift or the placement of the building. So let me tell you, one time, I ventured out a little too far and I sunk to the top of my boots. So needless to say, while I was trying to extricate myself from the mud, I ended up on my backside in the mud. The young gentleman that was operating the machine, he found it really funny. And of course, he's yelling at me from across the field, just wait, I'll come and pull you out with the machine. I'm like, not happening, buddy. So I still, when I head around the building and I see that location, I still have a good chuckle. I don't think I'm ever going to forget that memory of me sitting in the mud. The speed of this project and the manner in which it was completed was amazing. Royal Homes had a tight schedule for their contractors, and they always had somebody on site to advance us to the next stage. Due to the size of the buildings, our roofs were constructed on site, partially on the foundation, and then lifted off, and then the units were set on. It was amazing and exciting to see the units arrive and then lifted onto the foundation. And one day we had homes where just a few short days or weeks earlier, we had bush. And I have to tell you, when the second triplex came in, I was heading out of town for a conference. So I get stopped at a construction site, and what do I see but all the trucks lined up with all of my houses on. So I had to call my salesman and let him know, if your drivers are wondering who the crazy woman was that was hanging out the window of the vehicle waving and taking pictures, that was me. Because it was my next 6 units coming and I was pretty excited about it. So I am pleased to say that we have filled our triplex A. So that's 6 3 two-bedroom units. Our first tenant moved in on September 24th with the others shortly thereafter. Triplex B was completed ahead of schedule, which enabled us to host an open house with the generosity of Royal. They footed the bill for all the food and beverages, and we were able to show off these beautiful units to our community members. Our community members toured that area often to watch the progress, so we were excited to be able to share this with them. In under 6 months from the date that we began, we will have all 6 units filled with tenants. Without the RHI project, we would not have been able to accommodate those 6 tenants in a time frame for at least 3 years or longer. So it had a huge impact on our wait list. Some of the main challenges that we had during this build was the winter weather, the late spring arrival, rocks hidden underground challenges. We had a lot of water from springs. We had runoff and we had low water tables or high water tables. We had mud, which made setting stakes really challenging. They wouldn't stay. The amount of rocks that we had to remove and the amount of fill that we had to bring in because we weren't going to put these rocks back up against the foundation and just cause us problems later. So we hauled clean fill so we could get it up to grade. The on-site roof construction, which was non-negotiable, we couldn't do it any other way, added to the timeline, but was required. One big factor as well was the ongoing lack of tradespeople in the north. We really need to increase our number of tradespeople. Some contractors wanting to work on both buildings simultaneously, which is why our triplex B advanced almost at the same time as A, which made our on-site carpenter a little crazy at times because he was trying to be in both places at one time, but he did an amazing job. So, and the availability of supplies. So this is a project that we're very, very excited about and we're very proud of. So thank you for allowing me to share this project with you today.
All right, thank you. That was very good. Another good story, challenges. I'm sure we all had those kind of challenges. The site's not the best or just always delays, especially with COVID. Plumbing equipment, electrical, there's always been delays in the last few years, but we're still managed to stretch those ISC reports saying, yeah, we're finished, but you know, the paint's still dry, but it gets done. And I'm always appreciative of all the partners. I said earlier how we work together to build houses. Okay, who's downloaded the app? 4. Who's filled out an online survey from one of the sessions on the phone? I see 1, 2, 3, 4. We need more. The more feedback you guys give us, the better next year's conference will be. All right, be honest, but nice. All right, have a quick break and then we'll go into our last sessions. And the first bus leaves in the front to go to the Smart Modular, I think at 4:40. So shortly after the last sessions, buses start going over there. All right, guys, enjoy your break.